What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're saying goodbye to the Ultra League, goodbye to the Ultra League Premier Classic, and hello to Master League Premier Classic, and the Love Cup. And we're going to start by focusing on the Love Cup because it's a more interesting meta to talk about in general, and then I'm bringing you guys some of the best teams for Master League a little bit later on. Now, I hope you guys had a successful Go Battle Day. I had a pretty good day myself. I ended up back on the global leaderboards after Go Battle Day. And then with this Love Cup team, I managed to climb even higher up to 3268. And then I've kind of dropped my points again a little bit. I'm wanting to drop down a little bit lower at this point because the matchmaking is pretty slow. Struggling to find games to make content for you guys and to test out teams. And as good as it is to have battles and content against some of the best trainers in the world, in the top several hundred trainers in the world, it just takes far too long to get battles done and show you guys some diversity of matchups. With that being said, if you guys are new here, please consider subscribing. We're so close to our goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers. We're on 960 at the time of recording this, which is absolutely blowing my mind. The burst of support over the last couple of weeks for the channel is absolutely blowing my mind. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for that. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and let's take a look at today's team. On the lead, we've got Druddigon, and Druddigon has a really unique spot in the Love Cup meta, being the only dragon that qualifies to compete in this cup. Someone can correct me in the comments down below if I'm wrong about that, but it has Dragon Tail, Dragon Claw, and Night Slash, which are fantastic moves for general coverage. Against this meta, it resists all the elements, the electrics, the fires, the waters, any grasses. It does fantastic against. In the back on this team, we have got Charizard, and this is not just any regular old Charizard. This is a Wing Attack and a Blast Burn Charizard, so double legacy moved. Wing Attack is ideally the best move that you want on your Charizard for this meta because it's super effective against the grasses and the fightings. It means that the fire types don't resist the fire spin damage, apart from Magcargo because it's part rock. Charizard does a lot of the same things as Talonflame, except that it resists the incinerates from an opposing Talonflame and is hitting back for neutral damage. And also in the back we've got Medicham, and I'm running 100% IV Medicham right now for this team and these battles. I do have an XL that I'm planning to build, a very highly ranked one, but I don't have quite enough XL candy yet for it. So I'm making do with the Hundo, but the more XL you can get Medicham for this team, the better. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, but what if I see a Charmer on the lead? And realistically, with this team, you lose if you run into a Charm lead. I haven't seen very many at all at my ELO ranking, but at your ELO ranking, if you are seeing more Charmers on the lead and you want two options in the back, any poison type will work in place of Medicham. Something like Venipede, Ariados, even Vileplume does pretty well as that position. With all that being said, let's take a look at some of these matchups. Alright, first matchup, and we've got an Electrode lead, and normally you're going to see Electrode being used as a safe swap, but probably not against this team that you're running here. But if you see it on the lead, it's fantastic for Druddigon. Those Volt Switches do almost nothing. You can comfortably survive a foul play. As you can see, they have to land two moves to take you out. You'll get to the Dragon Claws pretty quick, so you're putting quite a bit of pressure on this Electrode, and if they don't shield your Dragon Claw, you can farm down before they even get to a second move. Anyway, so a very dominant position to be in with Druddigon, and as you can see, these Dragon Tails hit for massive damage, the Dragon Claws hit for big chunks of damage, and there isn't much apart from the Fairy typing in this cup that's going to be resisting that Dragon damage, except Wormadam Trash, which is a good choice for this meta, but you're not going to see that many of them, at least I haven't yet. They might pick up a little bit later on as Love Cup does progress. And in the back on this team, they've had a Crustle, which is fantastic to line Medicham up with. Those counters do hit for super effective damage. And then in the back, they've got a Talonflame, which is brilliant to line Charizard up against. It doesn't matter that Druddigon is spent at this point. Charizard, with this massive shield advantage that we've now got, is going to be able to absolutely wipe the floor with Talonflame. We go straight for the Blast Burn because Blast Burn does more damage than Dragon Claw, even though the Blast Burn's resisted. Blast Burn even is such a fantastically strong move. And now I'm going to bring in Medicham and finish off this Crustle, absolutely no worries. They can't take you out with a single charge move, no matter what moves they've got. And we're going to be able to comfortably survive that X-Scissor anyway. We probably would survive another X-Scissor at this range, but it doesn't matter, we don't need to go. So go for the Psychic, make sure we take them out, they are shields down. The Power-Up Punch might not have quite KO'd, and then they might have got another move off. Why dance around, you know? Throw the Psychic, take them out, and take that game. You're going to find that Druddigon walls a lot of common leads in this meta. It beats Talonflame comfortably, it beats Electrode, it beats Alolamola. Basically anything that's running an elemental like water, fire, grass or electric as a fast move is going to be resisted by Druddigon, and that's a huge advantage to take early on in a game. And this opponent's actually going to swap out to Medicham from a Venipede lead and catch a Dragonclaw and Medicham. We don't mind that, and we stay in. I don't know why we throw an extra Dragon Tail there. We swap out to Charizard though, which is the right call. Either swapping out to Charizard or Medicham in this position is fine. We are going to shield the Psychic because Charizard is not as bulky as Talonflame. The Psychic wouldn't quite take us out, but it would put us in countered down range, which is quite unfortunate. It's probably the main drawback to Charizard versus Talonflame, is that Charizard is quite squishy, can't take as many hits, and that Psychic from Medicham is pretty big damage. Now they do bring Venipede back into the Charizard, which we don't mind. Just going to stay in here, let Charizard go down. They throw the Sludge Bomb, take us out, that's fine. They burn a lot of energy. And we're going to bring Druddigon back in, start putting some work in. They've got Scrafty in the back. We've got Medicham to absolutely wall this thing. Well, we don't wall it. The foul players do hit for neutral, but we're hitting them for super effective with the counters. The Power Up Punch is super effective. They can only hit us for neutral, and their counters are resisted on us. It's a pretty comfortable win. We're going to have to take them out, and we're going to take that game. It is worth noting that while Druddigon has a lot of positive matchups, just thanks to the Dragon typing in this cup, it does lose to all the fighters. It loses to Medicham, it loses to Scrafty, and it's pretty neutral against most of the poison types, but it's not that advantageous of a matchup. So the main thing you're running Druddigon for in this meta is its type advantage. And in this third matchup, we got a Wormadam Trash lead, which is part Steel type, which is therefore resisting the Dragon Tail damage, and you can see it really wasn't hitting very hard at all. And any matchup where the Dragon Tail's not hitting for very effective, Druddigon's really gonna struggle. We do choose to safe swap Medicham. Really, Charizard's probably still the better safe swap. We don't mind that we've pulled out this Slowbro. Because we've landed a Psychic, we are going to be able to probably get a shield here with a Power Up Punch. This is going to threaten them pretty heavily and threaten for us to take switch advantage. We do get the shield. We're going to get one more Power Up Punch off, and this is either going to force the last shield or give us switch advantage. They do choose to give us switch, which is fantastic. Wormadam comes back in, and we can bring in Charizard. Now we are taking neutral damage from these confusions, but that's not fantastic that they've got a Milotic in the back, and I would go as far as to say that Milotic is a core breaker for this team, just because it's got Dragon Tail as a fast move, which is super effective against Druddigon, and also it's got Surf as a charge move, which is going to mess up Charizard. So it's pretty tough to handle. If you run into it on the lead, it's pretty nasty to cope with, but Druddigon's still able to put a lot of work in there, as you can see, but we are going to have to shield up this Surf. We could have thrown this Dragonclaw straight away rather than shielding that Surf, because I'm pretty sure Charizard wins CMP against Milotic, but it doesn't matter. We should be able to survive a move if they throw one on this Wormadam, and we should get to a Blast Burn and absolutely annihilate this little steel bug boy. Might be close. This might even have been a CMP tie. They did get a fair amount of energy from Druddigon at the start and then from Medicham afterwards, but still a comfortable, not a comfortable win, a close win. GG to that opponent. Also, I just realised I called Wormadam a bug boy when it is definitely a bug girl. That's specifically how it evolves to Wormadam, as if it's a female. Sorry about that. Moving on, we've got a Seaking on the lead, and this is a shiny, no doubt probably triple legacy Seaking here, so a fantastic flex from the opponent. That's very, very nice. Seaking has an interesting spot in this meta, but it is an expensive build in terms of elite TMs, needing a legacy fast and 2 legacy charge moves. We're not really sure how best to play this matchup out, so we decided to stay in with Druddigon and then swap to Medicham and snipe them down. We were worried they were going to get to one more Icy Wind before we were able to take them out, but honestly I'm not comfortable with the counts of Seaking. To be honest, I don't know quite how many poison jabs it is to get to Icy Wind. I don't think I've ever battled against a legacy Seaking. If I have, it's been a very, very long time. Now we do pull out an Electrode with this Medicham, which I'm very happy to see, because we do not want Charizard lined up with this thing. But also we locked ourselves in here with Medicham. They're going to swap out to theirs, and we need to get Charizard in here because we do not want it stuck against that Electrode. We're going for the last Psychic. We're not able to get it. We don't even get the last Power Up Punch off for some chip damage. We really wanted to dip with that energy and possibly get to a last second Psychic at the end of the game, but we do lose that energy, which is unfortunate, and now we need to get to 2 charge moves, one for the Medicham one for the Electrode because Charizard can't afford to take these moves, and we actually decide that our best bet is to make it to 2 moves with Druddigon. We need to get to a Dragon Claw here, which we get and take them out. We should survive the Volt Switches. It's just if this Electrode has 2 charge moves, doesn't have any, doesn't throw anything, this Dragon Claw will take them out and will take us the win. GG. Now, I do think if you find yourself against a lead that hard counters one of your Pokemon in the back, you do have to stay in with Druddigon. So if you run into something like, let's say, a Crustle, like in this matchup, you're just going to have to stay in with Druddigon because you cannot afford to have Charizard against this thing. Charizard gets absolutely smashed to pieces by Crustle, as does Talonflame. Those double super effective rock throws will absolutely annihilate you. And the Dragon Claw does big damage, but we are going to have to give up a shield to take switch advantage, and I do think this is worth it. In a lot of situations with this team, you're going to find that switch advantage works out quite well for you because Medicham and Charizard are both quite polarizing. Charizard's hard shut down by water types, Medicham is hard shut down by something like a Charmer. So if you have the choice of controlling what's lined up against the other, it's definitely worth going down 1 shield in most of those matchups. We do pull out an Ariados, which Charizard is fantastic against. They've got an Electrode in the back as well, which we can line Medicham up against. So controlling switch advantage was absolutely key. The shield advantages would not have mattered if we'd have had Electrode against Charizard and Ariados against Medicham. But also, do not underestimate Electrode because it has Hyper Beam. Boom! Medicham gets absolutely annihilated, and now this Electrode has 2 shields, which puts us in a really bad spot. If we'd have shielded up the Hyper Beam, would have been in a much, much better spot. But now this Electrode can shield up. It's probably going to double shield because these Volt Switches are going to put in so much work. And like I said, just choosing not to shield the Hyper Beam realistically is going to cost us this game. This Electrode probably can finish us off. It's probably going to get to another discharge here, yeah. And they're going to take that win despite us taking switch advantage. But always be aware, Electrode can have Hyper Beam and it does hit bloody hard. Like if we had an XL Medicham, maybe we'd have done a little bit better at tanking that, but with our Hundo, we were not going to be surviving that. But that is going to be a 4-1 set against some meta teams run by some leaderboard trainers. I'm going to bump us all the way up to 3268 ELO rating. And now I've got a couple of random matchups to show you that I've run into with this team. Just some interesting games that I think are worth looking at and some unique scenarios worth talking about. So, like we've said, Charizard struggles against the fighters like Scrafty and Medicham. So in this game, we're going to say swap Charizard along with a boatload of lag. And a lot of people will answer your Charizard say swap with their own Talonflame. And with your wing attack Charizard, Talonflame is not the best answer. You're resisting those Incinerates, you're hitting them for neutral damage, which is going to chip away. We're going to commit a shield in case it was the Brave Bird, since that would have absolutely annihilated us. And even though they don't shield up our Dragon Claw, we're going to get to another one, which will take them out or will give us switch advantage at this point, so they are going to shield that up. We've got another Dragon Claw because wing attack is so fast for energy gain, and Dragon Claw is a very, very spammy move. They're not willing to give up 2 shields in that matchup, so we're going to take switch advantage. And now we've got Charizard against this Scrafty, which is fantastic for us. Once Charizard goes down, we can bring in Medicham, which is going to put in a lot of work. They do just go for a power-up punch. It's not going to be enough. We're going to throw a Blast Burn. You're going to get that last shield. No, boom, Scrafty's gone as well. Charizard is running rampant against this team, and they've got a Vileplume in the back, which Charizard's not quite able to finish off, but Druddigon is walling that Razor Leaf damage, and we're just going to very comfortably take that win. GG. Okay, now the next matchup I want to talk about is a bit of what you might consider a nightmare scenario, and this isn't the Magcargo lead that's the problem, it's this Wigglytuff that swaps in. And you might think, well, they swapped to Charmer in, you've got your Charizard against it, that's ideal, right? And you would think so, but Wigglytuff is bulky enough and it is strong enough and Charm is broken enough that this Wigglytuff can shield up 2 Blast Burns and can Charm us down entirely. And then what have we got? We've got Medicham and we've got Druddigon against this thing. So surely this Wigglytuff shielding 2 Blast Burns is an automatic lose scenario for us. And you'd be surprised because we've got 2 shield advantage. We're going to bring in Medicham. Wigglytuff, the only advantage to it being Wigglytuff specifically is that because it's part normal type, these counters are neutral, and we're actually going to be able to counter down this Wigglytuff entirely. We're going to get smashed to pieces by Charm doing it, but we've got a shield advantage. The Charmer is gone. Do they have an answer that can still cope with Medicham and with Druddigon now that their fairy type is gone? I am worried that they've got double fairy, and if you do run into double charm with this team, you're just going to lose. That's just the way it is. And double charm's going to run through a lot of particular teams in this meta. We decide to let the Rock Tomb go through, which might be a mistake because they do have an Electrode in the back, and this would have been very nice to have more health on Druddigon to be taking these Volt Switches. It does mean we're not going to get the second Dragon Claw off, but our Medicham does have a lot of energy, and that Magcargo did dump its energy into Druddigon. So we shield up this discharge, we get to a Psychic, we take out the Electrode, and then we should be able to farm down this Magcargo before they're able to get to another move and take us out. Incinerate is a very slow, fast move. We're able to get 3 counters through before they can throw their charge move and take that win. Just as a side note, we could have let the Magcargo throw energy at Medicham and then just save the shield for Druddigon, and we probably could have swept just with Druddigon anyway as well. Alright, last matchup from a battle today, and this is just one to really show off what Druddigon can do against teams that are not prepared to handle a Dragon type. Now, this Vileplume staying in tells me that they've got at least one Pokemon in the back that is weak to Druddigon, and we're actually able to farm down entirely with Dragon Tail before they even get a charge move off, which is fantastic for us. We've got quite a bit of energy here, and they bring in a Magcargo, which again, still isn't the best answer to Druddigon. We're still resisting these Incinerates. We're able to survive a few, get off some more damage, which is absolutely fantastic. So with 1 HP and a Dream, getting to one last Dragon Claw, we're going to get the second shield out of them, and that is absolutely crazy that we've been able to take out a Pokemon and a half and get a 2 shield advantage just with Druddigon. What on earth have they got in the back if Magcargo's what they brought in to farm down? We showed up the Overheat, and they've got a Rotom Wash in the back. Rotom's nice and spicy. I've been thinking about trying out Rotom Wash for this meta, but it is pretty squishy. We're going to shut up the Thunderbolt, we can throw a Psychic at this, farm down the Magcargo. This game is done and dusted, and realistically nothing on this team could really do anything against the Druddigon. Probably the only move on the team would have been if the Vileplume had a Poison Charge move, or if the Magcargo had a Rock Charge move. Those are the only things that wouldn't be resisted by Druddigon, which is absolutely crazy. Alright, and that's the team, guys. I do think Druddigon has a lot of play in this meta. I wouldn't recommend using it as a save swap, but on the lead or in the back as a closer, it's got a lot of potential just because of how many typings in this meta that it resists. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking and subscribing if you're not already. If you are already subscribed to the channel, you're an absolute legend, and I will catch all of you next time.